Hello viewers, this video is a bit more specific than usual. I like to talk about ideas around specific events rather than individual people or events in isolation. So this one will be about the ideas around leveraging the bias of others to support your own agenda. An agenda they would likely reject if it was presented on its own, honestly. But this video will be centered around Millennial Woes. If you're not aware, this man was recently featured in the mainstream media in Scotland and was outed as a white nationalist. I've listened to his defenders' points around how he does not advocate for violence. However, it is my opinion that he knows that his vision of an ethno-state is one that would be built on the bones of those who stand in the way of such things. He does not state this outright, but he's not that stupid. You can't gain support and win over minds to your cause by jumping straight to the end goal. First, you have to convince them that you're on the same side and that your goals are at least similar to theirs.
She asks, why should I care about a future that I won't live to see? My reply, because other people are important. Basic stuff, and yet it needs to be said. And entities outside of yourself, groups, societies, nations, enterprises, projects, are also important. You are free to not consider these things important, but that is a count against you, against your character. Because if somebody only cares about themselves, they are an unpleasant, narcissistic, self-absorbed, and egotistical person who will build unhappiness for themselves and win the lukewarm contempt of their peers eventually.
Hello everyone, Actung. My name is Eric Cartman and I'm the president of the Mel Gibson fan club. Thank you. I'm happy to see that all of you were affected by the passion like I was.
You speak in general terms about things you all agree on, but slip in suggestions of your true intent in small doses which are open to some charitable interpretation and are certainly deniable if it comes to it.
The number one problem in the West today is that people have something like the following attitude. Nothing really matters. It's all about me, and I should suit myself, and not think about the future beyond my death, or the past beyond my birth. I don't care if my group ceases to exist. I don't care about what I leave for my descendants, because I don't appreciate the fact that what I have came from my ancestors. Genetics and ancestry may connect them and me, but time and the assurance of the Jewish media separate them and me.
But I think it's best we don't talk out loud about it until we have most of them on the trains heading to the camps.
After you have them agreeing for long enough, you'll have them intellectually and emotionally invested in you and your cause. To attack you is to attack them, as they project their intent onto you as a kind of force field.
Fellow fans of Mel Gibson, our numbers have grown, and now together we have the power to change the world. Now I believe we should take to the streets and march in unwavering support of this important movie.
Whoa, great idea! It'll be like a parade! Good idea!
By this point, you have support of people who will toe the party line and march in lockstep.
All right, everyone, forward, march! Es ist Zeit für Ratsch!
Wir müssen die Juden aufhalten!
Es ist Zeit für Ratsch!
Wir müssen die Juden aufhalten!
Nice.
I think this is essentially what has happened with Millennial Woes. He has convinced elements of the nationalist and patriotic side of society, along with people who are just simply concerned with the rise of violent Islamic activity in Europe, that he's the one that's saying what no one else dares to, and speaks for them. Well, in reality, he doesn't really. Ethno-nationalism is a rather niche market.
But a more direct answer to the question would be this. Everything that you have because other people had exactly the opposite of your attitude. You have inherited wealth, technology, traditions, systems, infrastructure, culture and architecture, among many other things, from people who did care about a future that they wouldn't live to see. It is precisely this that gave their lives meaning. Nothing is meaningful if it is produced without sacrifice. And no sacrifice is possible without effort and pain.
Now, we all know why we're here, and I believe we all know what needs to be done.
We sure do.
On the face of it, what he says in those clips is not totally wrong or completely crazy, but if you listen to this, understanding his stance that ethno-nationalism cannot be achieved peacefully, the sacrifice, effort, and pain takes on a far deeper meaning.
Ethno-nationalism is to say that you want it, but only if it can be achieved peacefully. It is really to say, well, you don't want ethno-nationalism because it cannot be achieved peacefully in our situation, in our circumstance.
What does that mean, sweetie?
I'm not sure,
Now, peaceful ethno-nationalism in our time, in our situation, is simply not going to happen.
What does that mean, sweetie?
I'm not sure,
So the whole thing is unfortunate, and I wish that it could be resolved peacefully.
Now, in order to do what we all know needs to be done,
With some of the groups involved, I think it will be pretty much peaceful. They'll simply scarper, they'll simply leave as soon as the shit hits the fan. But other groups, and I don't think I need to name them,
wir müssen die Juden ausrotten!
Wir müssen die Juden ausrotten!
Es ist Zeit für Reich!
either won't have the resources to do that, they won't have the wealth to do that, or they will not have the mentality to do that. In fact, it would be completely against their mentality. In which case, well, war, conflict. And that is simply how history is.
What does that mean, sweetie?
I'm not sure,
I do want to emphasize that she's simply, the peaceful resolution that she wants is simply not going to happen.
What does that mean, sweetie?
I'm not sure,
You can see past the facade, people build for him and expose the driving force and meaning behind his words. Now, I know people may think that too much is being made of this here, mountains and molehills, but I know that national pride can be a powerful tool to mobilize people, and the current climate is one which could easily see that further channeled into something beyond what they intend, beyond flag-waving nationalistic goals.
Now everyone calm down. We live in a rational community, and everyone knows this is just a movie. There's no cause for alarm.
Es ist Zeit für Reich!
Wir müssen die Juden ausrotten!
Es ist Zeit für Reich!
It is my hope that people see this before it's too late and they see themselves invested in something they did not actually sign up for. Ethno-nationalism is a path that leads to nowhere, an impossible goal based on a false premise that genetics is the key to successful cultures. If an ethno-state is to be achieved in the UK, it will indeed not be done so peacefully. It is counter to our culture to bow to fascistic systems. We fight them, regardless of their source. Now, go do something better. Be seeing you.
Oh, no, come on, people, we're so close to completing my final solution! as we march for the passion, we should also voice our support. So, when I say, Es ist Zeit zu zaubern, you all chant back, Wir müssen die Juden ausrotten!
What does that mean, dear?
Oh, I think it's Aramaic. You know, like in the movie.
Ooh, Aramaic, cool.
Neato!
That'll be awesome.